Hey everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at something pretty interesting. It's kind of a head scratcher at first, but trust me, this is one of those things where, like, the more you think about it, the more interesting it gets. We're going to be looking at the connection between hip-hop superstar Kendrick Lamar and the Buick Regal.
Yeah, it's a fascinating juxtaposition, isn't it?
It
I mean,
is.
you have this world-renowned artist known for his incredible lyrics, his
Mhm.
deep, cutting-edge sound, and then you have this classic American car.
Mhm.
What's the connection? Well, that's what we're going to get into today.
Yeah, and I think one of the most interesting things about it is how Kendrick uses something as seemingly mundane as a car to actually explore these deeper themes, and he's obviously known for his complex narratives and the way that he weaves these different ideas together. And it's just really interesting to me that a car plays such a prominent role in some of his work.
It really is, and we're not just talking about any car,
Hmm.
right? The Buick Regal, particularly in the context of Kendrick's upbringing in Compton, holds a very specific kind of cultural significance.
Yeah. So set the scene for me, like, why the Buick Regal specifically? What made it stand out in that time and place?
Well, you know, if you think back to the late 80s and the 90s, the Regal, especially within black communities, it represented a certain level of success.
Yeah.
You know, it was attainable, it was stylish, and it just sort of embodied this idea of upward mobility.
So it was more than just a car, it was like a symbol.
Yeah, it was a status symbol. It was a way of saying, hey, look, I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
It was tangible proof that you were achieving something better.
And that idea is really hammered home when you look at Kendrick's album GNX, right? I
Yeah.
mean, the Buick Regal is right there, front and center on the cover. You can't miss it. It's obviously a very deliberate choice.
Exactly. He's not just showing off a random car. He's tapping into a very specific shared experience, a kind of visual shorthand for a whole set of emotions and aspirations that resonate within a particular community.
It's a cultural touchstone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just visual either.
Yeah.
This bleeds into his music too. Take the art of peer pressure, for example.
Oh man, that's a great one. That beat is so infectious. But how does the Regal actually fit into the narrative of that song?
Well, he uses the Regal alongside other car imagery to really ground his storytelling in a relatable reality. Remember that line, me and my niggas four deep in a Regal, looking for trouble, looking for girls, looking for anything. He's not just describing a scene, he's transporting you right into that world. You're there with him. You're cruising through the streets. You're feeling that energy and the weight of the decisions that you're making under the influence of your peers.
It's so vivid.
Right.
And it's interesting because the song deals with some pretty heavy themes, peer pressure, social dynamics, the allure of rebellion. But the car acts as this grounding force. It makes it feel authentic, like a snapshot of real life.
Exactly. It becomes this vessel for a shared experience and, in a way, a character in itself. It reflects the community, the struggles, and that yearning for something more that really permeates Kendrick's work. And this whole idea of duality,
Yeah.
that's something that really fascinates me about how he uses the Regal.
Duality, tell me more.
Well, on the one hand, the Regal embodies aspiration. Right.
Okay.
It's a symbol of reaching a certain level of success, of exceeding expectations. But at the same time, Kendrick also explores the darker side of that ambition.
Hmm.
The potential pitfalls that can come with chasing a certain kind of lifestyle.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. So it's not just about celebrating the Regal, it's also about acknowledging the complexities that come with it.
Exactly. He's not afraid to show the potential consequences, the harsh realities that can sometimes accompany the pursuit of material success.
Right. So it's about the pressure to conform, the temptations that can lead you astray, and just the constant struggle to define your own path in the midst of all that.
Absolutely. And,
Yeah.
and that's what makes his use of the Regal so compelling. It's not just about glorifying a lifestyle. It's about exploring the full spectrum of emotions and experiences that are tied to that aspiration.
So it's a multifaceted symbol.
Exactly. It reflects both the allure and the potential dangers. And
Yep.
that tension is what makes it so interesting.
Yeah, and it really ties back to those broader themes of identity that run through so much of Kendrick's work. It's not just about the car itself. It's about figuring out who you are in the context of your community, your aspirations, and all the pressures that you face.
Right. The Regal becomes almost a metaphor for the journey of self-discovery. It's about understanding where you come from, the forces that shape you, and ultimately defining your own version of success.
It's amazing how we started talking about a car and now we're delving into these like profound questions about identity and societal pressures. It's a testament to Kendrick's ability to weave these grand narratives into something that seems so ordinary.
It really is. It speaks to the power of art to take something mundane and elevate it and make us reconsider our own experiences. It's like holding up a mirror to society and forcing us to confront the complexities that we often overlook.
Yeah, and what's even more fascinating is that Kendrick isn't the only one who's used the Buick Regal to tell these kinds of stories. It's become this recurring motif in hip hop, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The Regal has a long and storied history in hip-hop culture. It's popped up in lyrics and music videos across generations. It's become a shorthand for a whole complex of ideas, from luxury and ambition to the struggles of navigating a specific social landscape.
I'm curious though, how does Kendrick's use of the Regal differ from other artists? Does he bring something unique to the table, or is he just tapping into this existing cultural motif?
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
He definitely draws from that established symbolism, but he also adds his own layer of complexity.
Yeah.
He's not just celebrating the material aspects. He's really exploring the deeper sociological and emotional implications.
So he's using the Regal as a tool for social commentary.
Exactly. He's prompting us to look beyond the surface and grapple with the deeper issues that are at play.
So it's about taking something familiar, something that already carries all this cultural weight, and then injecting it with a fresh perspective, a deeper level of analysis that kind of elevates it beyond just a simple trope.
Right. He's taking this shared symbol and using it to spark conversations about race-class ambition, the complexities of the American dream, and that's what makes his work so resonant. He's not just entertaining us, he's challenging us to think critically about the world around us.
And that brings us back to the question that we posed at the beginning. What are your Buick Regals? What are those objects in your life that carry that same weight of meaning, that power to evoke memories, emotions, and a sense of connection to something larger than yourself?
It's about recognizing the power of these seemingly ordinary things to hold extraordinary stories. And those stories, they're unique to each of us.
Yeah, maybe it's a family heirloom that's been passed down through generations, or a piece of clothing that reminds you of a special time, a book that opened your mind to new possibilities, or even a specific place that holds a cherished memory.
The point is that these objects, however mundane they may seem on the surface, they're imbued with this personal significance. They become these touchstones, connecting us to our past, shaping our present, and guiding us into the future.
And that's a powerful realization, isn't it? To recognize that the things that we surround ourselves with are more than just objects. They're vessels for our stories, our emotions, and our shared human experiences.
Absolutely. It's about looking beyond the surface, recognizing the symbolic power of the everyday, and finding meaning in this seemingly insignificant work. And that, I think, is one of the greatest gifts that Kendrick Lamar's work offers us.
Beautifully said. Now, in the final part of our deep dive, we're going to shift gears a little bit and we're going to explore the lasting impact of Kendrick's approach. How does his unique use of symbolism, his ability to weave these complex narratives into these familiar objects, how does that contribute to the broader conversation about art identity and the search for meaning in a complex world?
Yeah, it's like he's saying, look a little closer, there's meaning hidden in plain sight. Your own Buick Regal is out there just waiting to be discovered, right? And it's that discovery, that process of unearthing personal meaning. That's where the real power lies. It connects us to our past. It informs our present. And it ultimately guides us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
Okay, so let's talk about that process a little bit.
Right.
How do we actually go about finding those hidden meanings, those Buick Regals in our own lives?
Well, I think it starts with paying attention. Really tuning into the things that spark a memory or evoke a strong emotion, or maybe even transport you back to a specific time and place.
So it's about being more mindful of the things that we surround ourselves with.
Exactly. And then asking ourselves, okay, what stories do these things tell? What makes them more than just ordinary objects?
Yeah, maybe it's a worn out teddy bear from your childhood, or a recipe that's been passed down through generations, or a ticket stub from a concert that changed your life. It could really be anything.
Right. The important thing is to recognize the power that these objects have to shape our own personal narratives and to connect us to something bigger than ourselves.
And that's a pretty powerful realization, isn't it? To understand that the things that we surround ourselves with are more than just objects. They're vessels for our stories, our emotions, and our shared human experiences.
It really is. It's about looking beyond the surface, recognizing the symbolic power of the everyday, and ultimately finding meaning in the seemingly insignificant.
And that, I think, is one of the most beautiful things about Kendrick Lamar's work.
Absolutely. He invites us to do that. He challenges us to think differently about the world around us.
So as we kind of wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave you with a challenge. Don't just listen to this and move on. Take this idea and run with it. What are the Buick Regals in your own life? What are those objects, places, or experiences that hold a special significance for you?
Think about the things that spark a memory, evoke a strong emotion, transport you back to a specific time and place. What stories do those things tell? What makes them more than just ordinary?
Maybe by exploring these personal Buick Regals, you'll unlock some new insights about yourself, your history, and even the world around you. Who knows? You might even be inspired to create something beautiful to share your own story, just like Kendrick did.
It's all about finding those connections, the things that resonate with us on a deeper level.
Yeah, absolutely. So until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking out those hidden connections that make life so fascinating.
And remember, sometimes the most profound insights are hiding in the most unexpected places. Just look around. You might be surprised at what you discover.
So we've been talking about Kendrick Lamar and the Buick Regal and how he uses this car as a symbol in his music.
Yeah, it's more than just a car, isn't it?
Way more.
It's like this vessel for all these different meanings.
It really is. And I think it speaks to his artistry,
Yeah.
like the fact that he can take something so seemingly mundane and turn it into this really powerful vehicle for social commentary, for introspection, for connection.
Absolutely. And it makes you think, right?
It does.
It challenges you to look at your own life and see those hidden meanings, those Buick Regals, if you will.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes his work so impactful. He's not just entertaining us, he's actually making us think about the world in a different way.
Right. He's prompting us to ask questions.
Yeah, like what are the things that really matter? What are the things that shape our identity, our experiences?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to recognize that meaning can be found in the most unexpected places.
That's such a powerful idea. Like sometimes the most profound insights are hiding in plain sight. We just have to be willing to look for them.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And I think Kendrick's work gives us the tools to do that. It encourages us to be more curious, to be more observant, to really pay attention to the world around us.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a challenge. What are the Buick Regals in your own life? What are the objects, the places, the experiences that hold a special significance for you?
What are those things that spark a memory, evoke a strong emotion, maybe even transport you back to a specific time and place?
Take some time to really think about it. What stories do those things tell? What makes them more than just ordinary?
And don't be afraid to share those stories with others, because that's how we connect with each other. That's how we build community. That's how we make sense of the world.
And who knows? Maybe by exploring those personal Buick Regals, you'll discover something new about yourself or about the world around you. You might even be inspired to create something beautiful, to share your own unique perspective, just like Kendrick did.
Exactly. So keep exploring, keep questioning,
Yeah.
and keep seeking out those hidden connections. That's what makes life so fascinating.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's it for our deep dive today. We hope you enjoyed the ride
Yeah.
and that it's left you with some food for thought.
Until next time.
Keep those wheels turning.